The main thing they want you to believe is that the supernatural is not real. Why has that been so important for 80 years for you to convince me the supernatural is not real? The obvious answer is, well, because they sort of know they're working for supernatural forces, actually. And I think that's probably true. I talked to people who I thought had firsthand knowledge, and I talked to a number of them. And then I was like, whoa, I'm out. And the last couple of years I've been like, holy, they're the only people who know what's going on. So that's the conclusion I've reached. I'm usually pretty curious. I've stopped being curious about this because I don't want to know anymore. But I think I know. I think I know what's up. The fact that anyone would even consider getting within 1,000 miles around with a nuclear exchange just shows you that the core impulse here is, that's what all of this is. And that's why I personally think it's spiritual. I think it's, the word demonic is suddenly being overused. It's everywhere because it's real. But yeah, if you see a human movement that's anti-human, the push toward nuclear war for its own sake is by definition anti-human, I would say. AI is anti-human by definition. Anti-human by definition. Transhumanism is anti-human. Do people act against their own long-term interests? Probably not, actually. So it's probably not human. Very simply, trying to reduce it to its most basic elements, and like any movement that's anti-human is probably not human, is it? Probably not. Do dogs act against their own collective interest? Do caribou? Do porcupines? Do single-cell amoeba? Do sea cucumbers? No, none of them do. No animal does that because it's not natural. Animals are part of nature. They do natural things. People are subject to the supernatural, so they do things that are not natural, like themselves. That's why we're the only species that does itself. So when you yourself, whether slowly or all at once, you're being acted on by forces outside of you, spiritual forces, obviously. But one thing that you notice about every world religion I'm familiar with, I'm interested in that topic, there are commonalities between religions. But there are commonalities that are very striking between all world religions I'm aware of and all creation myths. And one of them, and this is of course true for Christianity, very true, is that the belief that supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that, the Greek myths, but that they take physical form, that they're not just like some ethereal, they're not just shadows floating around, specters, fog, that they're physical, like they're as real as the arm of your chair, and that they reproduce with people, immaculate conception. Spirit reproduces with human woman. That's what the story is. And it's described in Genesis as well, in Genesis 6. But again, it's not just the religion of the ancient Hebrews or the religion of the modern Christians. It's Hinduism as well, and the animist religions, the religions of, to the extent we understand them or know about them, of the American Indians, all the same. So if every culture in the world that we know about, who's left any kind of written or physical record, is reaching the same conclusions about something, maybe there's something there. And maybe it's not so crazy to think that what everyone else has always thought since the beginning of time, which that there is this combination in cases of, human beings and the spiritual realm, whatever that is. I can speak about it with no precision at all because I don't understand the specifics of it, but I know that it has been written about since people have been writing. I got really interested in it, and since that is my job, that's literally my job, is to call people and see them and have dinner with them and talk to them, and that's what I've done my whole life. So it's like that's just natural for me. It's not a hobby. It's my profession. I hate to use the word reporting because it's been so discredited by the liars. Oh, we've done a lot of reporting. Here at NBC, we've done a lot of reporting. Liar. You talk to some flack at CIA who told you a bunch of lies, which you're now repeating to me and my kids, so shut up. You've been done reporting. I hate to use the word reporting, but just like satisfying your curiosity by trying to identify who might know, talking to a bunch of people about it, assessing who's telling the truth. Maybe they're wrong anyway, but you can kind of feel whether someone's telling the truth. And there are ways to know, or to get closer to knowing whether someone's telling the truth. And just talk to a lot of people. And I've done that because I got really interested in it, sort of by accident. I never thought I'd be interested in this at all. And so I talked to a lot of people, and I was really shocked by what credible people told me. They could all be wrong, of course. I can't prove it, but I became completely satisfied, I'll say that they were not lying, and that they were right or in the vicinity of right. I always assume the details are wrong, I was a police reporter for a while, and you interview someone like a shooting, you've obviously seen shootings, but most people don't see shootings. So you think if you saw a shooting, you'd like remember every detail of the shooting. They get them all wrong. People aren't good at detail. Okay, that's just true. But they are good at themes. They're good at themes. Like, they remember the guy's fat. He may have been 400 pounds, he may have been 280, he was fat. Like, if everyone says the guy was fat, he was fat. I know I don't trust anybody, actually. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my job to trust people, so it's my job to assess whether what they're saying is right or not. So I talked to people who I thought had firsthand knowledge, and I talked to a number of them. And then I was like, whoa, I'm out. Because I don't need to go farther than that. I mean, I think that the real struggles are unseen. That is absolutely a part of Christian theology. I didn't fully appreciate it at all. It's a part of every theology. In fact, it is theology. That is theology. The belief that the real struggles are in the spiritual realm. That has been a constant belief since the beginning of history, recorded history. Everybody has thought that, except us in the West, since 1945. I can't say that enough. So once you get perspective on this question, you're like, okay, that may sound crazy to someone who thinks buying on Amazon is the meaning of life, but to every other person in the world, we may disagree about what the truth is, I'm sure we will, but we will never disagree with the fact that there's a lot going on that we cannot see or measure with our senses. That is absolutely true. So lying brings no sanction. You can lie all you want. What you can't do is tell the truth. That is a fact. So once you know that, you can sort of reverse engineer their lies and know with some certainty that whatever they're telling you is not true is in fact true. That's exactly the truth. It's exactly the truth. But then you have to ask motive. Like, it's not a profit motive. Like, does it make them rich to deny that there's supernatural forces? No. What is that? And I don't know the answer, but the obvious answer is, well, because they sort of know they're working for supernatural forces, actually. And I think that's probably true. And the US government is millions of people. I'm suggesting that. I'm not saying it because I can't prove it, but I'm suggesting it. And if you're asking whether I believe it, the answer is yes. Then I want to ask, what's the nature of the lie? What exactly are they trying to get me to believe or not believe? That's really important. What is it? Like, what's so important to them that they're going to all this effort, spending all this money, getting all these journalists to repeat, knowingly or not, repeat their lies? Like, why? Why are they doing that? It takes time to do that. It's a big effort to lie. It's much harder to lie than tell the truth. So why bother? And then the third question you have to ask is what is that? What does that mean? And then, of course, I don't know the answers, but it's very suggestive.
The truth of the matter is that the media can shape our reality. If they want us to believe something or dismiss it, they have the tools to make that happen. Sure, some of you might see through the deceptive agendas, but still, the vast majority of people could be swayed against those who dare to question the powers that be. So, in a way, they win regardless.
Yeah.